All right, everyone. It's me, Mike, and apparently God coming in through my window today. Don't worry, I'm going to be getting curtains. I just haven't put them back up since I got my room repainted. Yeah, back for another 0 hour. Pretty excited. Mike, hit him with that synopsis.
All right, so the film we're talking about today is Godzilla versus Kong, the fourth installment of the MonsterVerse, directed by Adam Wingard, and with a screenplay written by Eric Bornstein, Eric Pearson, and Max Bornstein. So, in a time when monsters walk the earth, humanity's fight for its future sees Godzilla and Kong on a collision course that will see the two most powerful forces of nature on the planet collide in a spectacular battle for the ages. So I haven't actually seen this in the theater yet. I just watched it on HBO Max, but you actually saw it in theaters. How was that?
Amazing. Like, typically, and I think Mike would attest to this, when you see these movies or you see these movies advertised, you're fully expecting to go in and be like, all right, it's advertised as Kong versus Godzilla. Realistically, we're going to see them fight for about 20 minutes because the rest of the movie is going to be useless garbage that no one wants or needs. No, I was so shocked at how much fighting was going on in this freaking movie. It was gorgeous. I cannot be more excited that I got to see a movie in theaters because getting to see the just kaiju fist fight that ensued was nuts.
Yeah, I'll say this much: they deliver on the premise. People wanted to see Godzilla and King Kong, Kong, duking it out, and they deliver. It still has sort of the fundamental flaws of every other versus film, and we'll get into some of the problems later.
Yeah.
But as far as like the fights themselves, I had a blast watching this.
Oh yeah, and the best part is that they actively went out of their way. They also have one of the biggest whipping your dick out on the table moments in a CGI film that I've ever seen in my entire life. And again, we'll get into that when we get to the end of the movie. But they went out of their way to show that both Kong and Godzilla have different strengths over each other. And I greatly appreciated that. When they had the fight on the carrier, they're like, Kong can barely swim. Like, he ain't got an advantage over something that can swim and can submerse and has all this free motion, is used to water. And then you get into the city where there's climbables and all this stuff where agility comes into play. Kong's going to whoop his ass 9 times out of 10. I was kind of like, this is cool. They're putting them in situations where each of them has an advantage and showing that both of them are pretty well matched. But what I can say, unlike the one that was in the 80s, was it?
I think 60s. Keep talking. I'm going to look up the date.
They actually had, in my opinion, a definitive winner this time around. Like in the other one, they both just fall in the water and then Kong just walks away. So it was kind of taken to assume that Kong won.
That is kind of the assumption. By the way, the original King Kong versus Godzilla came out in 1962.
62, there we go. Okay.
And naturally, there are two different versions. There's the Japanese version, and there's the English or Americanized version, yep, which came out a year later. Now you said there was a definitive winner this time.
In my opinion, yeah. Last time I checked, and you got to resuscitate someone with the power to reignite Las Vegas. I think we clearly had someone get their ass whooped. In my opinion, at least. Like, they had to save Kong and resuscitate him. That, in my opinion, was like, if Godzilla would have just walked away, he would have died. So, give or take, they didn't exactly ding the bell and raise the hand to somebody because, again, versus movie flaw, when you have two heroes fighting each other, you kind of can't stay that path.
Mm-hmm. I even wrote that in my quick thoughts that like the fundamental flaw of a versus movie is there's always a third party that's kind of forcing the heroes to go against each other. Like you know, of the most recent examples, and yes, they are superhero movies. Batman v Superman was instigated by Lex Luthor. Captain America: Civil War was, you know, it was Zemo all along.
Yep.
And this time it's shocker, another evil corporation. This time they are the Apex Corporation or Apex Cybernetics.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, these reviews are full of spoilers.
Yeah.
So, and even then, this was kind of teased in the trailers. Apex is the company responsible for Mechagodzilla.
Yep. If you watch the trailer, and I didn't see it in the trailer, someone had to show me a freeze frame. Mechagodzilla's in that trailer for about 0.2 seconds. Why did you need to show that?
I don't understand it. I wish they kept it a surprise.
Absolutely. Because give or take, like you said, you and me both knew something was going to be an eventual third target, but this way people could have at least then wondered what it was. Because all these movie companies have to know by now that every frame of these trailers is examined. Like, I don't know. That's just me.
One thing I am a little bit disappointed in is that Charles Dance's character is completely absent. Even though at the end of King of the Monsters, they made a big deal of showing him with one of the Ghidorah heads.
Yeah, I didn't get that. What I also didn't get until I watched a compilation video on Watch Mojo, I still do give you a chance every now and then, although Walt Culture is infinitely better. The guy piloting Mechagodzilla is Ken Watanabe's kid.
Wait, actually?
No, story-wise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not made clear at all in the text.
No. When I rewatched it, I'm like, they do talk the same way and similarly, but yeah. Why? Where did that plot thread come from? His dad died saving Godzilla, and they didn't bring up something like, oh, I bet Godzilla killed my dad. He's just, why?
Now, I may just be spoiled by the Snyder Cut, but I have a feeling there are a handful of deleted scenes from this film.
There probably is, but I'm also going to be that guy that does go out of his way to mention that creature movies have never been the most. We're going to make sure that we're clear about everything so you get a lot of expositional dialogue. And I'm not going to lie, I'm very happy that the rest of the movie was just fine without me knowing that. And I didn't even know that was a thing until I saw it on something online, but I was just kind of like, okay. But yeah, there's probably a couple of different versions of how those fights ended. There's probably more, the results for how they were going to show everything was probably totally different in the editing bay, and probably 4 different versions of the way the movie ends. They probably all have them obviously killing Mechagodzilla, but for people that don't know, I didn't know how once I learned about Mechagodzilla, and I was talking with people at work that don't watch dumb old kaiju movies, and I was like, yeah, Mechagodzilla's going to be in that movie, and they're like, no, he's not. And then I showed them the frame. I'm like, that's Mechagodzilla. They're like, oh, I've never even heard of him, because the origin of him's stupid. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, weird aliens that transform into apes and have green blood make a Mechagodzilla, and he's from a parallel universe originally. It's dumb. You want to go have a field day? Go look up some of those 80s Toho films where they were making a Godzilla film every 2 years, and they are just stupid. and like time travelers get a hold of Ghidorah's body and make Mecha King Ghidorah and pilot him like a big power, like a freaking Megazord from the inside.
Don't get me wrong. I love stupid, but it's got to be the right stupid.
It does. And like, I am kind of happy that they're like, okay, we're making Mega Godzilla partially alien because they're using the heads to make a kinetic link to like pilot him. I was just like, man, it's one of the things I said that none of you watching this probably watched our Gurren Lagann reviews, but I kind of just talk about how things are said in movies like they're explaining how to run a washing machine, and they just treat it like it's a normal statement. When the guy from the radio show goes, oh, this head goes to that head through a telepathic link, they're controlling the... Hold on! Like, what are you talking about? How are you...
All right, let's back up for a moment. What did you think about the subplot with Bernie and the two kids?
I really could have done without it, to be honest. Like, I love Millie Bobby Brown, and I can't think of his name, the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People in Deadpool 2.
Hold on, I got it.
Starts with a J, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Give me one sec.
Cracks open IMDb.
Julian Dennison.
Julian, I was going to say Jacob, but yeah, I love that kid. I love Millie Bobby Brown, and that guy on the radio show was doing great, but my God, were they pointless in that movie. Like, all they were was an exposition machine. That's it.
Pretty much. Like, I like those actors, so I was enjoying kind of following their journey, but the movie didn't need them.
No, would you have preferred if like somehow someone on their team was doing research that was already a group of the main chunk of humans that were actually staying with Kong and Godzilla to make sure the focus was on them, so we never broke away from it?
I think I might have preferred that, but I also think in some ways this movie leaned a little bit too heavily in Kong's favor. I figured it would be more balanced. But then that's probably why you have Bernie and Madison and her friend doing all that nonsense.
Do you feel that we got as much more with Kong in this film? And obviously, this sounds like a dumb question because Godzilla's gotten 2 movies at this point.
It's possible. Like they've kind of unintentionally like created a pattern. It's like the first one was Godzilla, then it was Kong Skull Island, then King of the Monsters, and now this.
Yep.
So it's like the odd numbers are Godzilla, the evens are Kong.
You're not wrong. It's gonna be weird when like they obviously left this wide open, except like the only things that are... Someone approached me at work after we were talking about this. They're like, "Are they done making those movies?" I'm like, maybe. Like, there's no end credit scene. It's just basically like Kong and Godzilla. Like, the only spare thread after this fight is that there was a Mothra egg found, and it's in the credits of King of the Monsters. Like, that's it.
I hope there's more. I hope because I've been looking at the box office returns for this movie, and it's doing okay. At like all things considered, we're still in a pandemic, but like that being said, the domestic numbers have looked pretty good with that asterisk.
Also, it didn't make like $190 million just in Japan, or was it China opening weekend? Didn't it like do stupidly well?
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah. So it like in a movie again, this movie did not need to have like... expectations were low for as much as we were going to see them fight. They fought a lot. And when I was talking about throwing your dick out onto the table and showing that you weren't scared. Like, and you notice this, obviously. When I talk with a lot of people, one of my biggest criticisms, and was one of the things I hate about Wonder Woman 84, is that whenever there's a giant CGI fight, you can tell when they're scared or that the CGI is gonna probably be bad when it is dark as hell outside.
Oh, yep, I know exactly.
They can hide so they can hide the effects. And then I was like, all right, the fight with them on the carrier, that was in broad daylight. I was like, sweet, they have confidence in themselves, and it shows like the cool effects, like them under the water, a little bit in the air. This I was like, wow, special effects team deserves a lot of applause. And then they're in the city in Tokyo where they're showing all of the glass reflecting off of it and Kong jumping off of everything. I'm like, all right, it's at night. They're still doing really good. But when Mechagodzilla comes out, it's going to be at night because it's going to be a big hodgepodge fucking mess with all these people.
Nope.
And then when that gate opens and all of a sudden it starts to be daybreak, I'm like, oh my God. They're that confident that they're purposely going, no, you're going to see all of this going on. I was like, ah!
I have to ask, of the, let's say 3 major fight sequences, which one was your favorite?
I think it might be the one in the city. Like, give or take, you have all 3 of them. But they did a lot in that city, like with them falling around and jumping off of stuff and cracking through tables. I don't remember if it's during the third act fight, but when King Kong gets up and resets his shoulder on a building, I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, when I heard his shoulder crack, that's when I said in my mind, like, oh, shit's about to go down.
Oh, yeah. He's about to wreck some shit. And yeah, I think it's the one in the city because I think they did the most with it. And I honestly, my favorite part in my most badass part in the entire film is not even in one of those fights. And they never address it afterwards.
Wait. Is it when Kong is in Hollow Earth and he like rips open one of those like reptiles and just starts drinking the fluid?
It's drinking the fluid. I thought you almost had it. It's when he's in Hollow Earth and he sets the axe down and it starts energizing that weird Godzilla energy, and then Zilla goes, okay, I don't like that. He starts laser blasting through the middle of the earth until he hits where Kong is at from Tokyo.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty badass.
I was like, they just went out of their way to show that they have to go however many 100 miles an hour and go through this weird time-space continuum loop to like get to where this is. Godzilla's like, nah, brah, fuck that science shit. I'm a laser clean through the earth to there. And they're like, oh, yep, so how are we going to fix this big hole? Nah, don't worry about it.
I think one of the funniest moments was towards the end of the city battle where Godzilla and Kong just stare at each other and just yell at each other.
Yep, that was pretty good.
Like they pretty much yelled, "Why are we fighting? This is stupid."
What I pictured, and it's dumb because I was the only one in the theater, in my brain, it immediately was Brick from Anchorman going, loud noises! Pretty much what it was. I was like, that's so true. They're just like, why are we pissed at each other? Because we don't know why we shouldn't be. Oh, it was great. And then the fight's over. They're just like, we're cool. We're cool. You go that way. I'm going this way. It was so good. And it was just like, there's no subtitles. There's no nothing. We're just expected to believe that they know what they were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Like, I think the only thing missing was like the two of them doing like that we're cool head nod.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was and honestly, the reason probably why you didn't see it was did you read that interview with Adam Wingard about Toho's demands?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Wingard, like I don't know when he did the interview, but I read it after I got home from the theater, and he was talking about how Toho had one demand that Godzilla was not allowed to emote. He wasn't able to like sit down and be petty and whatever or be upset. But Wingard was like, there's one moment in that film where Godzilla smiles. We just had to be really, really coy about it and go rewatch it. You will know when it happens because it looks like he's intimidated or about ready to attack, but he's clearly got a mile-long smile on his face, and it's real good.
Where is it? Just so I
can't remember the exact moment, but it's after he gets to Tokyo.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out. It's in there, and it looks like he's about ready to be attacked, but the way that his mouth curls, you could definitely see he's smiling. Yeah, that was the one demand they had, and that was the only time it's whatever. It's like they had Kong go through all these emotions, so I thought that was cool. Also, MVP of this movie, don't know what the actress's name is, but it was the deaf girl.
Hold on,
who is actually, for people that don't know, an actual deaf girl, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that actually was cool. Hold on, I'm trying to find her name. Okay, her name is Kaylee Huddle.
Kaylee Huddle.
Nice. And her character's name is Gia.
Gia, yes. Like
so,
that moment.
Yeah, she is a young mute orphan. Who I guess is like, I guess one of the indigenous people of Skull Island.
Yeah, I think they said something about like her parents died in one of the attacks, or like one of the monster attacks or something on Skull Island.
Yeah, so Rebecca Hall's character is sort of like her adoptive mother.
Yeah, that moment in the film where she's talking with Rebecca Hall, and then she's just like, "What do you know? What he's saying?" Because he's been listening. And then they like look, and the whole crew realizes that Kong understands how to speak sign language. It was just like, ah!
That kind of reminded me of the scene in Rise of the Planet of the Apes where Caesar says for the first time, "No."
Yeah, it is among that. It's just one of those light little things that does so much. Oh, and I know for a fact that there's going to be some freaking The Flash thing when they do the CinemaSins for this movie. I just know for a fact there's going to be. Or, you know what it's probably going to be? They're going to use the clip from Justice League saying, "I've learned sign language, specifically monkey or gorilla sign language." But yeah, this was amazing. This was worlds better than I expected it to be. I was not expecting this movie to be bad under any stretch of the imagination. I just wasn't expecting the amount of these two fighting in this movie, because those two are expensive beasts to make on camera.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want them to get their money back. I want this to do well, and I want to see more because this is the best versions of them ever.
Yeah, as far as like the CGI and the visuals go, this just looks stunning.
Mm-hmm. The little bonus was like catching a fish.
Yeah, that's like his breakfast.
Yes.
So I don't know when I'll be able to actually see this in theaters, but man, I'm excited to watch this just multiple times, just for that fight alone.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be rewatching it on HBO Max on that thing now because I want to see how it looks with the colors popping and stuff like that. But yeah, it's one of the times where like I could feel the pain those things were going through. It's off the charts. I can't believe just how visceral a lot of that stuff is. And they weren't holding back. It wasn't just like, we're going to have a really slow attack and then it takes Godzilla 5 minutes to get up. Like, no, they were just going.
Yeah, the way that Kong moves, he moves more like a like an actual UFC fighter.
Yes.
And it's really impressive.
Yep, they were very good about this. Is one of the few where it was like, and again, this is the first fully CGI'd, in my knowledge, unless there's some film that I'm not aware of, that where it's like in the set in the real world with CGI models where you actually get to see these guys going at each other. And they went out of their way to show how these creatures would actually move. It's something I love about the Pacific Rim films. Like, those things should be slow and clunky and just take a little bit for their movements. And like, Godzilla's a chunky boy. He should take a little bit to get going, but he's got a reach advantage because of his tail. And also now, I love for the fact that it's been a little bit with Godzilla, so now it doesn't take him a good 2-minute charge up to fire off that breath. It's just like in bursts.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Pacific Rim, I know I'm not the only one who thinks this, but how would you feel if that was in the same universe as the MonsterVerse? Do you think that would lead to more story opportunities?
It would lead to story opportunities, but it's one of those things where with these crossovers, you have to have an incredibly skilled person to look for plot holes, because you have to wonder now, okay, why didn't Godzilla ever fight a kaiju? Because like, if they're going to do these, like if it started joined, it'd be a lot easier. But then eventually if you're like, hey man, we're going to make a movie where those two meet up. Okay, where were the Jaegers when Godzilla showed up? And it's like, after a while, it creates problems. But like, if you started them, I wouldn't be too bad, because like, I could see something easily like that on a Saturday morning cartoon. And that's essentially what these movies are Saturday morning cartoons with really big budgets. So like, if you had a moment where Godzilla was like, I mentioned Gurren earlier. I'm a giant fan of just big things beating the shit out of each other. Big fan. And if I get to see Godzilla marching in the battle backed by Gypsy Danger, I'm not going to complain. But it's just a thing where it'd be very hard to pull off, I'll put it that way. But I wouldn't mind seeing it. So
if they wanted to join these franchises together, the easiest way to do that is to just say that Pacific Rim takes place in the far future.
You could do that. That is very true. I did not think about that aspect. That is very true. You could have some remnant of old kaiju or stuff like that. Or like somehow Godzilla was like conked out for like 1,000 years and finally wakes up.
Yeah. And like, like the breach where the kaiju come from, you could just say that's Hollow Earth. Or
You're
like
not. There you go. Hey, this Ghidorah's an alien already.
See?
So we kind of got and like I said, for anyone, Mike, what I would do to do a retrospective on some of those old Toho Godzilla movies, just the stupid like Biollante. There's Space Godzilla, where it's like DNA got on an asteroid and he came down. He's got these big old diamond spikes on his back. And like Biollante, where they mixed Godzilla with a plant. Whatever they needed to do, they just came up with some bullshit. So
we might cover those on either a Fresh Takes or 0 stars, depending on how we feel.
Man, I can tell you right now, most of them would be a Fresh Takes if I was just having fun of it. But if we came close to that Matthew Broderick disaster, that would be the 0 stars of 0 stars.
You know what?
I'm not a fan.
I'm not opposed to covering that one.
Okay.
On one condition. I have a friend who unironically loves that film. So
okay.
We'll talk more off camera.
You know what actually would be kind of fun to do? We're not committing to this whatsoever. We should watch that one, and then we should watch Godzilla Final Wars.
Oh my god, yes.
Because Godzilla Final Wars has everything in it. I mean, fucking everything, including that Godzilla. He's in it for like 30 seconds.
Yep.
That would be something I'd be very interested in. We will talk about that off camera. But yeah, what was your favorite fight scene in the movie? Didn't ask you that. You asked me though.
It's honestly kind of a tie between the city and like the city fight in the middle, and like the final showdown between Kong, Godzilla, and Mechagodzilla. I think everything about that third act was just incredible. Like we mentioned earlier, like the fact that it all takes place in broad daylight makes the CGI more impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the best that Mechagodzilla has looked on film. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time he's been depicted like as a CG model as opposed to like his previous appearances.
You might not be wrong. I just have to remember if Mechagodzilla was in Mechagodzilla, Godzilla Final Wars, because I know they had some stuff in there that I think was partially. I don't remember. He might be the first time. Oh, Mechagodzilla is in that, but that looks like one of the. It looks like one of the suit models.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be the first time he's fully CGI'd. I could be completely wrong because I, again, have not seen all of them, just seen a good chunk of them. But yeah, he looked cool, and he was a lot more when they normally show Mechagodzilla. Like he looks a lot more like a Megazord, and this one he actually looked like an endoskeleton of like what Godzilla would look like. So that was pretty different, but I like that. It was very different.
One thing I couldn't help but notice is when the pilot was kind of controlling him, the first thing that came to mind is Mechagodzilla an Eva unit?
He kind of seemed like it. You're not wrong. Like I was also watching the CinemaSins before this, and there was just like they had the thing. I was watching all the kaiju type of movies to see how they compared and stuff like that. I watched Uprising, and they had Cruel Angel Stasis playing over when they had the intertwines. It's like oh man, but yeah, he kind of is an Ava unit if you look at it that way. The telepathic link, it was kind of like that. The sync with it, but yeah, that was a cool way to, again, like I said, random. Hold on. While we're talking here, I was gonna say I'm gonna look it up. I wouldn't even know how to look it up. The aliens that control Mechagodzilla. Aliens that control. I even be able to find a picture of them. Black hole planet aliens, man. I wouldn't even. Every evil alien race from Mecha. Oh my gosh, these are just. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where we would find them. My best guess would be Amazon. But yeah, they're man, that's something else. But yeah, it was cool how they did the switch. Part of me was just I wish that they would have explained that was Ken Watanabe's character's kid, and kind of just scrapped the whole Millie Bobby Brown thing, or made her be part of the team that was looking after looking after Kong. I don't know why, because she's still supposed to be pretty young in these films. That would have been okay. I will admit, I liked the ongoing tap water insult joke. That I thought was funny, but yeah, other than that, I could have done without it.
I think maybe one thing they could have done is like having Millie Bobby Brown's dad and the Kong team kind of working together, mm-hmm. as opposed to like keeping them separate, because that's probably one of the reasons why people are going to complain about the humans, because people have always complained about the humans ever since Godzilla 2014.
Yep. And one thing I have to ask you that I almost forgot, and it's kind of one of the main reasons why I don't like the Millie Bobby Brown, Julian, and I can't think of the other guy's name, the radio host.
That's Brian Tyree Henry.
Brian Tyree Henry. they kind of unironically help Kong and Godzilla for 2 seconds with a really dumb plot device. They spill tequila or whatever that was over the council, and it stops Mechagodzilla for 0.5 seconds.
Oh, right.
I hate that. I hate that with all my soul. Because, like, you had to come up with a way for them to be useful, and it turns into them short-circuiting Mechagodzilla with something that I can do to my computer. Like, they didn't have that in the safeguards. Like, that is the exact reason why people hate humans in these super creature kaiju movies, because 9 times out of 10 they're either there for some emotional beat or they're there to help a monster who shouldn't need their help with something incredibly stupid that they shouldn't need to do to help the monster.
That being said, I'll defend the humans for this reason, that you do need some sort of eye level or like an audience POV to get you emotionally invested in the conflict.
Yeah, and I liked how they started with that. Honestly, I liked how their storyline started versus how it ended. Because that guy, give or take a little bit easily, getting into Apex and then looking at all that stuff, that was cool. Like how they actually showed the heart of Mechagodzilla being in there. I was like, that was actually kind of sweet. Now they were showing why Godzilla was going in there. That was a nice touch. Just, it kind of petered out toward the end. But I get what you mean. And they had the makings of that. I just think that when they started it, they didn't quite know how to end it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair criticism.
Because honestly, when I go back and I was thinking about these, I like the human involvement in King of the Monsters, like with the orca and helping drag them to Fenway and stuff like that. I didn't mind that. That could have been done like a little bit better, but you actually had like a human villain in that movie outside of Ghidorah, kind of, with the mom there thinking that they need to reset everything and have this giant whatever. That is the most Godzilla movie plot ever to Godzilla. So
there's a reason why King of the Monsters is my favorite of the MonsterVerse so far.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm just that this is gonna be a really sad, somber moment here. And like, I do really like that original Godzilla movie, and me and Mike are both extremely huge fans of Rest His Soul, John Schnepp.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that he consistently bitched about with that movie was the fact that it always turned away from the action right when it was getting good with Godzilla. And it really made me upset when I was watching this, where I was like, man, he would have been so happy, and he would have been near dry humping John Campea with excitement talking about all of the action that he got to see in this movie.
Yeah, he would have loved both King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, he would have.
I think about that like anytime we talk about like these huge geek properties, like another one that
Snyderverse.
Yeah, he would have gone apeshit over Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I don't know if you're watching Invincible on Amazon Prime, but
I was waiting until I got that thing.
He would have loved that too.
Yeah, I saw the good old Connor. I saw the Twitter exchange with you, Connor, on Twitter, and oh boy, that's a conversation for another video. But yeah, I'm quite excited to watch that, because again, it's things that could be done in different ways, and that people go watch Invincible. I'm going to next weekend because I've got nothing going on, and I've got streaming in this going on this, so I wasn't able to. But the cast is stacked and it looks awesome.
Oh yeah. But going back to this movie, and anything we left out?
What did you think of the whole idea of Hollow Earth? Like they've alluded to this where they had like the subterranean cave or the and the subterranean tunnels that Godzilla would go through to like get around. And then they had that temple and stuff like that. And they kind of alluded to it with the skull crawlers and things like that. Did you think what was your opinion on them showing that they basically had a whole nother Earth inside the Earth?
Um, I'm fascinated by the concept. I'm gonna have to watch the movie a couple more times to really like solidify my thoughts as a whole. But like on a solely visual perspective, I loved the depiction of Hollow Earth, and I think it's kind of the perfect home for Kong. You know, it's very spacious. He has his own throne.
Mm-hmm.
He's got weapons. He's good.
And you know what it perfectly sets up for? A King Kong sequel in Hollow Earth.
Yes, please.
That is an excuse for them to make whatever the fuck they want and throw it down there. They could easily have Batra in there, the evil, weird-ass version of Mothra, and all sorts of just ridiculous. King Caesar. No, not... Oh, my God. They could do Gamera. Do you know who Gamera is?
I have a loose... Like a loose gist of the character,
like another version of basically like Earth's protector, but it's a turtle. And they could just, man, if this keeps going well and they don't give up on it, they could really do some special shit with this. Because unlike the Dooku, the Dark Universe or whatever the shit they're trying to call it this time, this one's actually working. So don't give up on this, please.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more of the MonsterVerse. Before we wrap up, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Netflix is doing a Kong anime series, and I don't know where it lands continuity wise, but
have they said it's connected?
Yep, it's produced by Legendary. So
you know what I just said about them having a Kong sequel inside Hollow Earth?
Yeah.
How much money you want to put down? That's what the animated series is.
I'm pretty sure that is. Okay, so the series is called Kong, King of the Apes.
Or it could be a prequel.
Actually, no, this isn't it. Keep talking. I'm gonna find it.
They could easily have like showing Kong's what I want to say, his ancestry, where like maybe it was the old Kongs and like Kong is young, where he's still with his family dealing with the skull crawlers. Or they could just, like we said, in Hollow Earth, they never gave a metric on how big Hollow Earth is, and Earth pretty big. So they could have quite an expanse of just, again, whatever they want. They just made up a world of no rules whatsoever. Or how you saw him transporting in there, and you have the humans down there to be that effective like that if Kong needs to come up out of Hollow Earth and do whatever up there. And it's all CGI. Or I should say it's all animated, so they can do whatever they want. They don't have to worry about budget outside of what they're going to do in drawing and stuff like that. So,
okay, so I don't have a like they're not really specific with the continuity, but on the initial deadline report, it just says the new animated series will continue the story of these monsters and myths. So, yeah, the assumption is that this will take place after Godzilla versus Kong.
That would make sense. Because then they could have him do whatever he wants. That would make sense. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't just go, we're doing a Kong and a Godzilla. Because Netflix just wants to do all of the anime adaptations recently of anything they can get.
There actually is going to be a Kong anime series or a Godzilla anime series, but it's not connected to the MonsterVerse. Only Kong is.
Oh, that sucks. Because is Pacific Rim Lionsgate?
No, that's legendary as well.
Legendary, that's what it was. Okay, got it. Legendary. Man, or yeah, Legendary. I mixed up the wrong things there. I was just like, they've got free reign to whatever properties they want under the right title. But yeah, man. So out of all of them, before we get going here, you said that King of the Monsters was your favorite. What's your ranking here?
Okay, so before I rewatch everything again. Off the top of my head, my ranking is number 1, King of the Monsters. Number 2, and I'll be honest, number 2 and 3 are tied. It's number 2 is Skull Island, number 3 is Godzilla versus Kong, and then number 4 is Godzilla 2014.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a fight for a little bit to see which one I like more, but it's King of the Monsters and this, and then it goes Skull Island and Godzilla. In my opinion, they just keep getting better, but I'm tied between which one I like more between those two because you just had like everything in King of the Monsters. So like you had 4 major kaiju in that movie. I still can't believe that. But yeah. If anyone likes these movies and they're just like, I don't know if I want to go see it because it's not going to be that great, it's really good.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the kaiju genre in general, go see this.
Absolutely, you have no reason not to. It's nuts. And if you want to see more of them, get your ass to the theater or on HBO Max, whatever. Just support it. That's all
yes, please.
Really ask, because we need more stuff like this. I do not need theaters and movies dying out because of this stupid ass disease. But yeah. All right, this is really good. We do a movie review again. Me and Mike will be doing me, Mike, and Kiona. Actually, we did promise Kiona we bring him in for that Mortal Kombat one. So
yes,
if available, Kiona will be on that as well. And we might be doing. We mentioned a different thing that I don't think I've ever formally said. Eventually, we were going to start something called Zero Stars. And as much as in my opinion, because I'm a dumb dork that likes bad movies, I think only the second one needs a 0 stars, but I did recently rewatch the first one with my youth pastor, and oh boy, is that a movie. I'm
so excited to watch that for the 0 star purposes.
Yeah. And you guys can guess from the title, I'm keeping 0 in it. 0 stars is basically just the movies that are bad because they're bad. Whether they're bad and we enjoy them or whether they're bad and we didn't enjoy them. We're going to put ourselves through torment for your enjoyment. To quote Ryan Haley from Funhouse, if I can remember the quote, we scrape the cream of the crop off the bottom of the barrel. But yeah, all right. So yeah, Mike, buddy, where can they reach you?
All right, so you guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. You can check out all my quick thought reviews on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can find our podcasts, including a retrospective on the Monsterverse, on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, and everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
Absolutely. You can find me at Organized Zero on everything, streaming, all that good stuff, Twitch, YouTube. I technically have a Facebook page, but I really don't have it for anything because I was going to start cosplaying, and then the world shut down. But yeah, so we will see you guys next time, and it'll be Mortal Kombat next time. So catch you later.
Peace.